Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this is a MacBook. I've kind of talked a little bit about this one. I found it at the thrift store, and here's the story about it. I'll give you just a sort of a overview. The keys are in pristine, perfect condition, which always amazes me. And so is the rest of it. It's in great shape. There's your I/O. When Apple used to actually care about I/O and put lots on there, lots of options. And you've got a DVD player. Excuse me. Got the old allergies going here. And of course, we can look at the surface. Excuse me, wow. There you go. That's the top of the device. I would say it's without a scratch. Oh my goodness, I really got sneezes going on. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. Okay. Anyway. Well, you can tell I'm not an AI. I don't think you're going to find that too often in an AI presentation. Yeah. So this is the... Wow. Oh. Okay, is the sneezing over? Wow. Okay, there we go. I think it's done. Yeah, so this was a MacBook Pro that I picked up. I had to take a bit of a chance on it because it was one of these sold as is, no return things that their store is doing these days. And this one was locked out, of course, and the battery didn't appear to be working, which is really problematic for Macs, because if your battery isn't working, then even starting it can be a challenge, and you got to do all kinds of little tricks to get it to start up. And it'd be quite frustrating to get working. But after I worked with this thing for quite a while, and after I installed a Boot Camp Windows 7 version on it, for some reason, running it under Windows 7 revived the battery, and I was able to charge it up, and now it's charging to 100%. And yes, the battery works just fine. So yeah, I kind of lucked out on this one. I have another MacBook that the battery's dead, and I have to play games just to get it started. But this one is a winner. So yeah, so let's talk about this thing and what I like about it, what I've done to it so far. So far, I wanted to get it up to sort of a certain level. I happen to like Mavericks. That's the OS X 10.9.5. Seems to be a good place to work from. I have a lot of software that runs that on that particular version of Mac OS. So I try to unify all my Macs to that level, and I have an iMac, I have a Mac Mini, I have this MacBook Pro, and I have a MacBook Air. They're all from roughly 2010 to 2012-ish, somewhere in that range, before they stopped allowing you to do things like add memory and things like that to your system. All of my Macs, I can add memory to them. And some of them I've maxed out at 8 gigabytes. Yeah, you can do a lot with them. You can usually change the hard drive as well, or put an SSD in, or whatever you want to do with a lot of them. With the exception of the MacBook Air, which is kind of pretty much a sealed unit. Well, that's MacBook Airs for you. Everything's a MacBook Air these days. Anyway, yeah, so this thing comes with a i5 at 2.5 gigahertz. It's got the old 4 gigabytes of DDR3. It's got this type of graphics, and they're not bad. We'll be able to test that in running Windows 7. It's got that info there. Here's the display info. Running 1280 by 800. Storage is, come on, you can do it. Gotta love it when it just freezes when you hit storage. There we go. Wow. Yeah. It's got, I split the hard drive into two disks, or two partitions. So this is obviously the Windows version, Windows partition, and this is the Mac partition, and about 250 each, which is plenty for both. So it's kind of ideal that way. And of course, it's got your DVD optical here, and we got memory, 2 sticks. Yeah, really, that's about all there is to say about that. So that's the basic breakdown of the hardware, and the battery's working. So I like to install a nice array of software from the time period correct software, and this is just some of the stuff that I've installed. And you can stop and pause and see what I've got on here. To me, it's sort of like the golden age of some of the best sort of Mac software that wasn't cloud dependent, and I quite like that. In order to get it to boot into the into Windows, you just go here and you say boot into this, restart it with this, and it does it. Man, I know this is running. Apologize, guys. It wasn't that runny before. And of course, it's got a shiny screen. It's got a shiny screen like all Macs, and which are great for doing the old mirror of me holding a phone, starting Windows. Yeah, Windows 7. And why do I put Windows 7 on there? Well, it's because that was the era-appropriate operating system of the time. That was really what people were using, and I find it works very well with this type of hardware. So I don't see much point in updating it to something that's going to be outdated anyway, before you know it. And what am I interested in running? I'm interested in running apps, not operating systems. So let's get into this here. See if I can actually do this with one hand. I think I got it. Hey, we got a Windows 7 operating system going here. All right, so let's see here what we have installed. We haven't got it all installed yet. Most of it, though. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so I think we got a lot of it. A lot of it installed. I got Nova Bench. Definitely be looking at that. I think for some of it, I just have to run it from, some of the stuff I run directly from portable apps because it just makes things faster, easier. Just to have them, just copy them over and they run. So we'll open up CPU Z. We will open up Crystal disk info to get an idea of the disk activities, which I don't know how to do this in a Mac. I don't have the software to sort out some of the stuff I can do so easily on a PC. I'm sure there's a way, I'm sure that there's a type of software out there that you can do the same thing. Man, oh man, sorry guys. My throat is choking right up. Come on, there you go. I always find the trackpad just doesn't work that great with Windows 7. Not like when you're actually using Mac OS. Let's go to the last one here I like to use, which is Specky. I use these because they're kind of consistent across all my systems. I do have other things like not just like CPU-Z, but like GPU-Z too, that you can get more information on your CPU or your GPU, your graphics info, but I don't worry about that. So let's see what version of Windows I'm working with here. Always like to kind of look at this and get an idea of come on, you can do it. Just does not respond well. There we go. Wow. So harsh. Okay. So we have an activated version of Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. Let's see about the device manager. And we have, again, you can see the basic specs. So our device manager should show up and tell us that we got everything, everything's installed. To get all that installed, you use a Mac install that gives you all the basic stuff. And one of the things it gives you, not that, it does give you that, but this is it here. Boot Camp, the Boot Camp sort of support thing. Kind of useful. Anyway, yeah, using Apple's driver collection is just painless and works perfectly, and everything, covers off all your drivers right off the bat. So here is some basic info about the system. As you can see, you can pause it if you want to look at any of that stuff. But yeah, it's running with decent temps, and yeah, just very different. Some of the stuff here, Cirrus Logic audio, you don't see that every day. But yeah, there you go. Some basic info about it. We can get into more detail about that later. Let's take a look at, we've looked at this. Let's take a look. Oh, rating's not available. Well, that's funny. We should rate this computer. Okay, well, that's going. Okay, it's going to flash and do a few things here. Well, that's going. Let's take a look. Oh my God. I like how it doesn't let go. You got to tap it to let it go. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the CPU information. So there you go. There's our CPU. Like I say, pause if you want to look at any of that stuff, but it's 22 nanometer process, so not too big. It's got 2 cores, 4 threads, and you can see all the instruction sets, so it's a fully realized CPU for its time. There you go, about the chipsets and stuff, and the BIOS 2016. There's your CPU information, sorry, your memory information, dual core. Let's take a look at those sticks. So it's an Elpida and 2012, which tells us this is the 2012 system. Again, Elpida, so it looks like these are matching, probably factory. So that's nice. So it's a 2012 system. And let's take a look at the graphics. And it's running the Intel HD graphics 4000 with a, well, it's saying memory of 1809. So obviously some shared there. We can look into that a little later, I guess. Yeah, there you go. So should do pretty well on the graphics, I think. I think we'll find out, of course. Let's see here. Is it resolution? Is that where we find the information? Maybe. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Here's our adapter information. So the total graphics memory, dedicated and shared. Interesting. Well, we'll see how this thing does. Once we run no bench. So it's still doing its thing, tuning, media decoding, and all that sort of stuff. So we're waiting that out. Hopefully that'll finish up soon. Let's switch over here. I was just wanting to get a kind of like a, I thought that had already been run, but apparently not. Yeah, so here we go. This is our Apple 500 gigabyte hard drive that came with the system. And let's take a look at how many hours it's been active. So, yeah, 111 days, so not even a year. Almost like a third of a year. So, yeah, not bad, maybe 4 months or something. Not bad at all, right? So, certainly not overly used. Very decent. No, and of course it's not finding any issues on the drive, which is great. Gotta love that. This is still chugging along here. How long does that take to do? I don't remember it taking this long. Should we just end it and just find out what the, I think what we'll do is, come on. Should we wait? Should I tell you a story while we wait? That's just like not really flying. Oh, maybe. Oh, it's crawling. Maybe I can tell you a story while we wait. Yeah, so yeah, there was a couple of different laptops that I picked up around this time. And what's happened with my thrift store that I go to is that they're now getting like kind of picky ass about like you bringing back the computers. Maybe it's because there's like losers out there who'll like strip out the hard drive and RAM and bring back a piece of crap and then try and get their money back or something. I don't know what's going on with them, but they've become really picky about if you buy a laptop, it's like as is, no return, no refund, no exchange. So what that means is you're taking a big risk if you don't have a power supply to test these computers, and there's never a power supply with the computers. There's just the computer. And so you kind of go, well, do I take a chance on it? And I've bought a couple of Macs now. I bought a 2008 MacBook and this one, which is obviously 2012 MacBook Pro. I took my chances with them, and in both cases it worked out okay. The MacBook 2008 one, the battery shot, so it's a bit of a fooling around to get it to boot up correctly, so it doesn't go into this like crazy mode. But I was able to figure out all the tricks and the handshakes and everything else you have to go through to get it to work. But I got it going. This one here, like I said, somehow the battery resurrected once I had installed Windows 7, and I don't know if it's because of the way it handles batteries or charges batteries or whatever, but suddenly it started charging once I booted into Windows 7, and suddenly I had a working battery. And when I went back into Mac OS, it was charging and it was working. So don't ask me about why that worked or how that worked, but it worked. So I wasn't looking a gift horse in the mouth. So yeah, that was the story with that. Let's turn down. I don't need the keyboard. Oh, how does that work? Something like this. Yeah, that's how we do it. There we go. I don't need the keyboard lit up. Yeah, so that's sort of what happened with that. The other computer that I took a chance on was a HP. It was sort of like an EliteBook. And the nice thing about that is I did have access to a power supply, but it was a Dell power supply, and it did show that it was getting power, but the problem was Dell's power supplies and HP's power supplies are different in that center pin of the plug that goes into the computer, and if they aren't they don't match brands. In other words, if it isn't an HP genuine power supply, it won't boot. So I knew that about HP power supplies, and I took my chance on it. And yeah, it turned out to be a really cool laptop that I was happy that I picked up. But in both cases, it was like a risk, right? You're taking a bit of a chance on it. And yeah, it's something you just have to deal with at the thrift store these days. And I guess the way things are going, maybe just too many people screwing around, and they just want to make a few bucks. I mean, as a result, they don't charge a lot. This was $30. The last laptop I picked up was $20. They usually range from $20 to $30, depending on sometimes they're $40, but most of the time they're $30, depending on, what you're dealing with. And then the odd time, like the other day, I went to the thrift store and they had like some gaming computer, like it's an MSI, it's an older one. So it's not even like that great. And I think they wanted like something like $140 for it. And I thought, well, maybe if you're somebody who really wants that particular computer, but to me it just didn't make sense. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. For stores, they're trying to make some bucks. I understand that, but sometimes it's a bit of a joke. So let's take a look at what we got here. So yeah, processor's scoring well. The max score is 7.9. It's got 7.1. The gaming graphics aren't bad either. Memory's okay. Desktop performances, it's okay. Yeah, and transfer rates are fine. So let's see how that shakes out in terms of running the Nova Bench, because that is something that's a baseline type thing that I can do. It really shows what's going on. We might as well close this. Should we close this? give it the best chance. And here we go. Let's give this thing a shot. See how it does. So I hope you're having a great weekend. It was Saturday. I guess it's late night Saturday, early morning Sunday. Yeah, hope you're having a good Saturday, Sunday weekend. I live in Vancouver, BC, so it's been it's been a cooler weekend. It was sunny. It was very sunny over the last little bit, with highs in the 30s, mostly in the high 20s over the week. And finally, we're getting some cool weather and a bit of rain, but not heavy rain, just little sprinkles. Oh, well, yeah, this is good. Over 300 FPS. Nice. Yeah, so it's been a good weekend. Got out, enjoyed some things, taking care of business and all that sort of stuff, you know. Things you do on a weekend. And what do we got? Oh, look at that. So I was wondering if we were going to get over 500. So we're in the 600 range, in the solid mid 600s. Nice. So, yeah. What I'm seeing here is the graphics at 279 FPS is very good. Yeah, and overall everything else is good. The CPU is good. RAM is okay, and transfer speeds are okay as well. So yeah, that's a great score. So this would be quite a powerful system for its time. It's actually a very solid Windows computer for a Windows 7 system. So this was a time period when they actually had the Intel processors. So yeah, having Windows 7 on a system like this isn't hard because they're dealing with hardware that's designed for Windows, really. And this was a time period when Apple was still recovering from its floundering days, and yeah, they wanted to be compatible with Windows. They wanted to play with Windows, you know, play nice with Windows. And now, of course, they don't, because they figure they're a law unto themselves. So, I mean, I wouldn't touch a modern Mac personally. It's not my thing. Kind of done with them. Kind of done with most, even Windows stuff these days. It's just getting so bad. But yeah, but it is what it is. I kind of cling to these old systems. I enjoy them. So there you go, guys. That's going to be the video for today. And I hope you're having a great weekend, as I mentioned. I hope you can put up with this platform. I'm finding it's quite hard to make videos these days and expect people to actually find your stuff. And, you know, to me, I don't really care so much because I'm not after views and stuff, but I do kind of find it difficult because I'm finding the creators that I used to enjoy watching, a lot of them have just given up because they're in it for some views, right? And so they want to get, you know, monetized or whatever it is they're after. But these days, I mean, honestly, if you aren't just making videos for the joy of making a video, you're not gonna be very happy. And you know, the amount of AI slop I'm looking at every time I do a search, the platform is just becoming really, really hard to work with. So hope it can survive, or I hope even what would be even greater is if somebody could come along and create something just like YouTube, but the old version of broadcast you, and you could somehow just switch out of this thing and onto a different platform. But of course, we live in the real world. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the video for today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.